Alright guys, Steve Alcorn here with you once again. Remember, if you like what you see, share this video. If you think it'll help somebody else, like this video with that little like thumbs up. Dislike it if you don't like it. Leave me a comment, and don't forget to hit that bell notification button to let you know when I'm doing new things. So, I told you I was going to do a disc with a JFJ Easy Pro, so we're going to do it. I've got two discs here. This is a PlayStation 2 disc. It is Time Crisis 2. It's slightly scratched. I don't know if you can see that or not, but slightly scratched up. And then we have Wii Boxing. And just from the front of the disc, it's pretty rough. But this thing is scratched to heck. And I don't know if you can see that or not. Sorry if I'm blinding you. But we're going to go back behind the camera so I can see what you guys are seeing. But this disc is scratched all to heck. And I don't know if it's kind of clean or not. So we're going to do the mild disc first. And then we're going to do that a little bit heavier scratch. Now, it doesn't seem to have any deep scratches on it. But I think it qualifies as the medium. So we're going to try the medium. And if it doesn't work, then we'll go with the heavier. But I'm not going to test these discs in a system. I already know the Wii Boxing does not play. I already know that the PlayStation 2 game, the Time Crisis 2 does play, but I want to see how it does on light scratches and medium scratches. Medium to heavy, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn you around. I'm going to push this so I can see what I'm doing here. Alright, so we're going to get the best view that we possibly can, and I'm going to try to show you what I'm doing here. Alright, first thing first is we read the instruction manual, and it tells you everything you need. And the first page is minor scratches, which would be the Time Crisis 2. The second page is medium scratches, which would be the Wii Bowling. And the third page is deep scratches, so for the third section. It also tells you what to do for GameCube discs. I have ordered the GameCube attachment because I do have a bunch of GameCube discs that need resurfaced. So that will be an upcoming video, and I'll do that when I get them. So, okay. So the first thing it says to do is, before mounting the disc onto the arm, unscrew the nut to remove and discard. Now, this I already took the paper off of, but it asks you to remove this nut. I'm going to show you something. This moves up and down. That's what puts the pressure on the disc when it's working. So I didn't even know it did that until I played with it a little bit. Okay, so now we got to put the disc, label side of the disc, against the plate. So that would be this side of the disc against the plate, obviously. And then tighten the screw, I believe. Tighten the screw back down. Yep. So we're going to do that. Tighten the screw. Okay. Step 2. After the CD has been tightened, make sure there is no gap caused by debris or misplacing of the disc. The CD should be flat. I already know there's no debris there because we haven't used this before and it was clean. So number 3, place the Easy Pro buffing pad into the pocket, and I'm guessing this is considered a pocket, and I apologize for all that. I'll shut it off in a little bit, or I'll try to shut it off now. It is group chat. And I'm going to see if I can shut that down. I'm not exactly sure how to do this. I know you can mute chat. Alright, well, we're just going to deal with it. I'll just leave it be. Alright, I apologize for that. Okay, so this is the pocket. So what it's asking me to do now is place the Easy Pro buffing pad white, which is one of these, flat under the pocket with no edges coming out. So I'm guessing it just means to put it down into the unit itself onto this plate here. This plate has like a rough edge, and on the back side this has like a felt. There is a little pin there, There's a hole there, so it really just sits right down on top of that. There's nothing else you need to do. Okay, so when using the Easy Pro buffing pad for the first time, you need to use enough solution to cover most of the pad. Okay, and it says to use this white solution, so that would be number 2. Why they have you use number 2 first, I don't know. So there we go. We'll open that. We're going to take the pad back out and put the solution on it because it'll be easier for me to show you. What it's asking me to do is put enough solution on this to cover the whole pad. So we'll just, whoa, it comes out really easy. I'm just going to go all the way around. And I do know it's very important to get the edges too. So then it tells you to use the top of the thing and just smush that all over the place, covering the whole pad. The center isn't as important because there's no data on that part of a disc. What I really like about this is it explains why resurfacing a disc helps, because your data isn't actually on the bottom. That's just a protective coating. So we're going to put a little bit more on because this is the first time. We want to make sure it's full coverage. Ugh, it's all over the place. I hope this stuff is non-toxic. I'm sure it is. I'm not going to eat it, so. Alright. Make sure we get it all the way, especially on the outside. You don't want, if you don't have enough on here, it will cause disc burn, and you do not want that. So, alright. So we got it mostly covered. I hope that's enough. We're going to put it back down in there just the way I showed you before with the pin in the center and go from there. It's a little bit messy, but not bad. Okay, so now make sure you're putting the Easy Pro Solutions 1 and 2 only on the white buffing pads. So there's a black buffing pad, or there's a black pad, but it's a sanding pad, and you don't want to use that with the solutions. Okay, so close the lid, securing it to the machine. Before turning the machine on, make sure the door catch is securely placed. So just asking me to close the lid. Now there will be some pressure because remember I showed you that has a little bit of bounce. There's a big spring in there. So don't worry about the pressure. Just close the lid and then make sure both of these are attached. So they are. Okay, so now push the button for the desired time, which should be 1 or 2 minutes. For deeper scratches, first users, select 2 minutes. So we're going to do 2 minutes because it's the first use. Please wait. So I think we got to turn this on. Okay, now there is 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. So we're going to push it for 2 minutes. And I don't think that's very loud. So we're going to see how this works for 2 minutes. I'll edit out this part of the video. So I see some solution coming up on the lid. We don't need to be talking here for 2 minutes, but I'm not going to move the machine, but I will try to get you a good view of what's going on in there. You can't really see what's going on because it's all white and it's just spinning the disc. But since this is the first use, it said to go for 2 minutes, so that's what we're doing. It also says if you have to stop this for any reason, make sure you power it off first. Don't try to open the lid while it's moving because it could ruin the pad. It's really covering, I may have put a little too much solution, I don't know. I wanted to be safe the first time, so. We don't want to use the same pad for the next part of this. For light scratches, you really don't have to do the next part. But if you want your disc to be nice and shiny, it says to use the blue fluid on the new pad, so we're going to do that. And these are the microfiber cloths that we'll use. These are disposable. I may try to find a cloth that's not disposable, so that I don't have to keep buying them. But it's just a general microfiber cloth. This feels like a paper towel, really. probably be a good idea to clean your machine after every use. I've seen some videos on YouTube and the whole inside of this thing is blue. And okay, so it's done. Oh, that was easy. So we're going to lift it up. We're going to take a look at the disc. And on first inspection, now if I was to do it again, or to do the blue solution, I wouldn't do this. But on first inspection, it looks like the disc is pretty scratch-free now. But we want it to be nice and shiny. So what the instruction manual instructs us to do is not to wipe that white off, but to take this pad out and do the same process with the blue pad. So we got to open this one up. And do the same thing. The first time use, you want to get it all the way around. Real nice on there. And take the top of the lid and just squirt that stuff all over the place. I may have gotten a little too much on there, but that's okay. I'd rather have too much than not enough and ruin the disc. So now these discs aren't very important or not very valuable, so it's okay to mess up the first time, but this process seems fairly straightforward and easy, so I don't think we're going to mess anything up today. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. Now, the same process, you put that down on that little pin inside. I'm not going to show you again because I already did. And we're going to refer to the instruction manual to see how long to run this part. If you want, this says, if you want a shinier, more conditioned surface that will protect the CD from future scratches, then you want to go to this step. After step 4 is done, which is the white stuff and taking it back out, with the white and the solution 2, replace the buffing pad. That means use a new pad. Apply Easy Pro Solution 1, which is the blue, and do it for 1 minute this time. So we're going to close the lid, making sure both sides are latched. It's a little bit messy, but not bad. And do it for 1 minute. Okay. So 1 more minute worth of buffing, and we're going to see how this disc works. Really quiet machine. I think I could run this. My wife is sleeping upstairs, and I don't think she'd be able to even hear this. I can see a blue streak all the way around the inside. After I'm done with this, I will get a paper towel or something and clean out the machine because I don't want that mess in there all the time. The reason I'm getting so much is because I did put a lot on that pad, and I did it on purpose because it is the first time use. What you'll notice about these pads is I would have assumed they'd be soft, but they're pretty stiff. They're real stiff and not soft. I would thought a buffing pad would have been real soft. The one step I didn't do, and I probably should have, is I've heard people say that, well actually I did because I took the disc off. Make sure to retighten this thing every time. See, that came loose, so you got to be careful with that. Make sure to retighten that every time. Okay, so we're going to take the disc off and make sure it says to clean it, how to clean it. Close the lid, press the button. We did that. When the machine stops, pull the CD out and clean the excess solutions from both sides of the CD with the cloth. It doesn't mention that spray, so I'm not sure what the spray is for, but we're just going to follow the instructions as they're written. Now, on inspection of this disc, it looks pretty good. We're just going to clean it off with the microfiber cloth, just like it says. I wouldn't attempt to clean it with any other kind of cloth, just for the purpose that you're going to probably end up putting more scratches on. Man, I don't see a scratch on this thing now. This thing is really nice. It looks almost factory new. I don't see any, I've used some of those handheld disc resurfacers, which work, or the crank style, and they leave like a swirl, but this thing is nice. I don't see a scratch on it. That worked really well. We're going to turn the disc over and make sure there's nothing on there. I don't see anything. And that is that for number 1. So now we're going to do number 2. We'll take the blue pad back out. Now, after you've got some fluid on there, and I can tell there's still fluid on there, so this will be our second use. It says to put 2 quarter-size spots on. So your first use, you want to cover the whole pad. I got white stuff all over me. The second use, you want about 2 quarter-size, or 5 little squirts, it says, but there's 1, there's 2, and that's all you really need. You don't need any more than that. And then we'll straighten it out a little bit. I probably put too much on, but that's okay. It isn't going to hurt to put too much on. You're just going to go through the fluid fast. And it's the same process. You put that in there. We'll take our wee boxing disc, and you can see how bad that is. I mean, there's some scratches everywhere. We're going to put the wee boxing disc up there. Actually, I think I was supposed to use the sandpaper first, so I think we'll do that because that disc is pretty bad. So let me actually refer to the instructions like I'm supposed to. Yes, you're supposed to use the soft sandpaper. So we'll look for the soft. This one's labeled coarse. These are all coarse. And these are all the soft. These are labeled soft on the back side. So we'll take that off. It's sticky. And we'll look for our black pad, which is in this little bag here. Now there's 2 sides to this, so I don't know. Both sides look about the same. Peel the backing off the soft paper, which I did. Secure the sandpaper. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter which side, but we want to make sure that it's centered as well as we can. And that looks pretty good to me. Push it down, it says. Actually, we're going to turn it upside down and push it down on the table to make sure. Put that in there. And try not to get any of that fluid on the paper. And it says to run for 10 seconds. So we're going to push this down. And we're going to hit the top button, which is 10 seconds. 10 seconds is pretty short. It's a little bit louder with the sandpaper, but not too bad. I don't know how many uses you can get out of a piece of sandpaper, but we'll find out. Now, you'll notice on the sandpaper now, it does get a little warm, which is normal, but this is also normal. It shows on the photo that you'll get that white, and they suggest that you write S or C, so soft or coarse in the center. So we're actually going to do that so we know which one. We'll keep 1 pad for soft and 1 pad for coarse. So this is soft. Just put an S in there. Okay, now we're going to inspect the disc a little bit. It is dull, but boy, does that look like it took some of the scratches out. Now we take this one, we put the 2 little dabs on. We want to put it back on the thing. I want to start it where there's some fluid, so we'll start it right on there. And it says to run for 1 minute. After sanding, the required buffing time for beginners is always 2 minutes. Once you become familiar with your machine, you can reduce it to 1. So we're going to run it for another 2 minutes, which is the bottom button. I put so much on there that it sprayed, but that's okay. So far, I'm very impressed with how this first disc came out. There's no scratches noticeable on it at all. That looks like it. If I saw that disc at a yard sale and wanted to buy it to resell, it would have been good to go. This disc I'm probably not going to resell. The reason I bought it is because it came with 2 memory cards. I paid 50 cents for it, or actually $2.99 for it at the Salvation Army, but it came with 2 memory cards, which I wanted for my PlayStation, and $2.99 is a pretty good deal. So there is some value in this game, but not very much. So we're going to peel the stickers off this while we're waiting. It doesn't take very long, so you can do things while you're waiting for it, but it's not really that necessary. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to take the blue pad and And we're going to put our 2 dabs on there because that's what it says to do. I actually put way more than it actually suggested. I'm going to have to get a paper towel or something to clean up because I'm doing too much. So what it really says is to do, see, I did too much again. Really don't need that much. Take your lid, do it like that, and then I try to scrape off the excess so it's not on my lid anymore. But you want to put it on opposite sides according to the instruction manual. I don't have any, I do have a cloth in here. Alright, so we're good, 2 minutes. So we're going to pull that out of there and give it a good look over, see what it looks like. And so far it looks pretty good, although I can't tell without cleaning it, but you're not supposed to clean between. So you put the blue one in. I believe you're not supposed to clean between because the first process said not to. Second, okay. Yes, the pad has been more than, okay. So, we're going to go ahead and put the disc back down. And this time it says to run it for, well, first time it asked me to run it for 1 minute. So I'm going to assume it's going to be 1 minute. Yes, 1 minute. So we're going to run this one for 1 minute, which is the second from the bottom, or the third from the top. We'll run that, and we're going to check on this disc when it's done. If this disc does not have any scratches in it, I'm going to be very impressed because it was pretty rough. I didn't consider any of the scratches deep. You could run it over with your fingernail and not really feel them. They were impressive, but they weren't deep. So it can be a little bit of a messy process, especially when you're first starting out like I am. But I think once I get used to doing this, the pads get plenty of fluid on them. It cleans up real easy, so it's not too bad. So we're probably halfway through the first minute, or the last minute here. We're going to grab our microfiber cloth and be ready. It's always good to be prepared between discs so that you can just go ahead and pull it out. It's normal for your disc to get warm, especially with the sandpaper. It says in the manual, so. Now we're going to pull this off, and I forgot to tighten between, but it was good. It is a learning process because I haven't done this before. Okay, on first glance it looks pretty good, but it's pretty covered with stuff, so we're going to go ahead and clean it. That is impressive. There is a spot in the disc that is like a deformity, but it looks like it's a factory thing. And I would be comfortable saying that this disc is going to work now. Very few, if any, scratches on it now. Just that one deformity. I'm going to run my fingernail over it just to see. It didn't cause any new scratches, thank God. But you can hopefully see the difference in that disc now. There is some swirly marks, probably from using the sandpaper, but not anything that I would think would cause this disc not to play. So, fairly happy with the way this works. Not fairly happy, I'm extremely happy that it did that. I'm amazed it took all the scratches out like it did. This disc was in bad shape, in my opinion, and it did not play. So I would suggest cleaning your stuff, but not with your microfiber cloth. With your rag, you can see there's blue all the way around that. And inside the machine is quite blue, and there's a lot of fluids up at the top. I don't know if you can see all the blue in there, but so I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that down. I'm not worried about getting it super clean at this point. Once it gets a little cloudy, I probably will. But right now I'm just going to clean it off. This stuff is used for cleaning basically plastic, so it's not going to harm your machine to use a cloth to clean it. And you can see how much excess I used, so I got to be a little bit more careful next time. I'm going to pull that blue one out. Clean your machine. Always keep your, any mechanic will tell you, any mechanic worth his worth will tell you to clean your tools. And that's because dirty tools just, you got a customer coming in wanting to buy something off of you, or, you know, buy a service off of you. If you're a mechanic, your tools should be clean. You're judged by what your equipment looks like when somebody comes in. So, and every mechanic I know, and every professional that I know, keeps their equipment pretty clean. Now, I'm not worried about keeping it 100% clean. I know it's going to get dirty, and I know it's going to get dirty a lot. But right now, we're keeping her clean. So that's it. Shut the machine down. We're going to put the pads right inside, I think, to keep them. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. No, I can't. I don't want to put the pads inside. I thought I did, but I don't. We're going to close the lid. What we'll do is take one of these bags and we're going to put the pads right inside there so that it doesn't cause somebody to touch them and get their hands all dirty or anything. This stuff looks like it dries up, but I don't want to put them on top of each other, but I will do it that way. And then we'll go ahead and put all our stuff away, but the results are clear to me. That disc looks very playable. I will test it in the next video. If I do another video on this, I forgot to push it. Always make sure you put everything back where it belongs so that you don't lose pieces. I see some stuff all around the edge of that. The next video I do will probably be when the GameCube attachments come. The only difference between cleaning that and a severely scratched disc is you'll use the coarser sandpaper, I believe. You may go ahead and use the coarse then the fine. I'm not sure. If I find a severely scratched disc, I'll do that too. But the next video will be me doing the GameCube discs when that stuff comes. I wasn't sure if this kit came with it, and it does not. I ordered double of the GameCube stuff, just like I did everything else, just so I have it on hand in case I need it. I always think it's good to be prepared. I did not order straight from JFJ. I ordered my stuff off of eBay. It looks like it's an authorized seller because that's just about all they sell. And it's labeled the same exact way. Same bags, same kind of stickers, everything. So, same kind of everything. So, you probably want to make sure you're getting it from an authorized dealer because JFJ will not cover their 1-year warranty if you don't. So you got to be careful who you buy from. But if I bought from JFJ, there was like $13 in shipping, and it was free shipping on eBay for about the same price. So I chose to go to eBay instead. But I did order. It cost me $50 more to get the GameCube attachment with 2 sanding discs, 2 buffing pads, and 2 sandpapers, and the GameCube attachment, which is smaller. It goes up here, but it's smaller, so it fits a GameCube game. If you use your regular pads with the GameCube attachment, it can mess them up or ruin them, and I don't want to take that chance. I'm paying a lot of money for this stuff, for the privilege to use it, so I want to make sure it's good. But that's it for today. That's the demonstration video on the JFJ Easy Pro with a lightly scratched and moderately scratched disc. I'm impressed. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm really impressed with how those discs look after using it. And it took minutes. I know there's systems out there that you can do this in a lot less time, but this is what I need, and this is probably all I'll ever need. And for being an eBay and Amazon seller, I don't deal a lot in discs. I deal enough that I need a cleaner, but I'm not, or disc repair system, but I'm not dealing so much that I need the professional stuff. So I think this is going to work well. The machine did not heat up. Did a little bit while using, but that's normal. They say it's normal. The discs got a little warm, but that's normal. They say that won't hurt your disc. So all good. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that stuff. You guys have a good day.